A lot of times, some of these things happen, and it's just uncomfortable to see. The details, quite frankly, are none of y'all business. But it's not as if I know all the details. It was a contract negotiation that was going on. ESPN certainly did not want to lose her. But in the event, in the end, rather, she made a decision.
More influential than half the senators in D.C. and every bit as unfiltered, he grabbed the mic on his own show and did what few expected. He looked straight through the camera, straight through a decade of rehearsed ESPN family hugs, and declared that Molly Qerim, his co-host for 10 years, is not the innocent casualty social media wants her to be. In fact, according to Smith, she was playing a much sharper game behind the scenes. Forget the soft-lit farewells and the Instagram statements, Smith's message had all the subtlety of a freight train as he thundered, Molly Qerim wasn't pushed. She tried to push the company herself, angling for a payday, or at least the keys to her own empire at ESPN. The gravity of Smith turning his arsenal inward. Throwing shade at someone he shared a set with for a decade made every network exec sit up a little straighter. The drama wasn't...
Molly is a friend. Molly is a co-worker. Molly is somebody that I have leaned on many occasions in the past, as she has done when it comes to me. We've been partners on the show for the last 10 years.
Isn't about ratings anymore. This was the top dog at ESPN, hinting at a coup attempt from within and making sure everyone knew it had failed. The suits upstairs were busy dusting off their corporate scripts. Brooke Magnus, the president of content, and the man who officially puts out ESPN's fires called The Athletic, and fired off his own line. There's no shoe that's going to drop. Magnus was all business, all polish. According to him, Molly Qerim simply wanted new challenges. The talks just didn't align in the sanitized world of network statements. There are always mutual decisions and gratitude for the memories. But anyone with a pulse knows that when the lead anchor is calling out his former co-host for pulling power moves, there's more smoke than even Magnus. Tidy words can sweep away. We're not living in a vacuum here. It's not just speculation from the peanut gallery, the cracks. Between Smith's on-air bombshell and Magnus' official nothing to see, here are right there for anyone willing to read between the lines. Let's break down the timeline that has everyone talking. September 16th. Molly Qerim always calculated with her words. Posts her farewell on Instagram. One of the greatest honors of my career, she writes with just enough gratitude to keep up the facade. Less than 12 hours later, the lights come up on First Take, and Stephen A. Smith is sitting in her chair choking. Out a tribute that is equal.
Last night, she abruptly resigned as the host of the show. And to say that I'm quite sad about it is an understatement.
Equal parts eulogy and awkward press release. Molly's a friend will miss her, he's selling heartbreak, but beneath it, he's also confirming what industry watchers already suspected: she's gone. Not just from the show, but from the whole building. She didn't finish out her contract. She didn't stick around for a proper send-off. She was just gone. And the official story that this was all her choice rings more and more hollow with every word Smith says and every word he leaves. Out last night, she abruptly, privately, the temperature is freezing. By the next morning, reports are swirling that Molly didn't just step away. She walked out the door months before her contract was up and didn't bother mentioning Smith's name once in. Her goodbye insiders start whispering that her Instagram post was a preemptive strike, not a fond farewell, while executives recite their prepared statements. The sports world smells something off for a woman who steered the show through a decade of mayhem arguments and live-wire debates. Her exit is starting to look less like an amicable breakup and more like a contested divorce. One with the ugly details sealed in the network's vault. Then, in true tabloid fashion, the story explodes sideways. Courtesy of Marcellus Wiley and his Hydration Situation podcast. Wiley never wanted one to keep his mouth shut, rolls out the inside scoop as casually as ordering takeout.
She was quitting right now. Both ESPN and Molly Qerim, they are trying to polish the They're trying to make this look like an amicable divorce. And look, maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. Maybe they couldn't come to an agreement and they agreed to amicably part ways. I'm more interested in...
He claims Qerim wasn't just unhappy. She was actively negotiating for either a serious raise or the creative freedom to branch out into her own projects. According to why Qerim told ESPN, "If I'm going to stay, you're going to have to pay me for my suffering." The word suffering hangs in the air, turning the usual sports show, Contract Grapes, into something darker. Y alleges she wanted her own show, her own platform. Maybe she believed her name had enough weight to go solo. Or maybe she was just tired of being the ringmaster for Steven. As traveling circus, ESPN, for their part, bulked. At both, as Y puts it. No extra dollars, no shiny new franchise, just a polite invitation to stay in her Laneley's account. Doesn't stop there, he pokes the hornet's nest a little more, drawing a sharp line. Qerim's fate was never really in her own hands. According to him, everything at ESPN comes down to one thing. Does Stephen A. Smith sign off when he does? You get what you want. When he doesn't, you're stuck. Y drops the line like it's gospel. When he doesn't sign off on you, when he doesn't sign for you, you don't get what you want. And for Molly Qerim, there was no sign-off, no endorsement, just a brick wall. Y paints her as a no, two on the No One show watching others like Mina Kimes, who isn't...
Oftentimes, when you have someone abruptly quit a job, they're not leaving on the best terms. Normally, it's polite to give your employer some kind of notice.
Isn't even on a flagship broadcast pull in bigger contracts, more visibility, and more respect. So when Qerim's bid for power fizzled, the only thing left was to walk. If Smith wanted her out, she was out. If he wanted her to stay, she'd have had a fatter paycheck, and maybe her own network within a network theirs. No middle ground. It's not democracy at ESPN, it's monarchy, and there's only one king. But while the audience was still chewing on that, another round of drama started to bubble up. KM, for all her public professionalism, never once mentioned Stephen A. Smith in her lengthy goodbye. No
more details have been released as to why Molly Qerim abruptly quit ESPN. And when I say abruptly quit, I mean she left work, I think it was on Monday, and she never...
No tribute, no hint of partnership. Not even a token best of luck. Insiders saw that omission as a signal. Whatever was going on, it wasn't pretty. There are whispers that she was left with no leverage, no allies at the bargaining table. Smith gets emotional on the air, but off camera. The word is that their relationship had long gone cold. If she was hoping for a last-minute rescue from the franchise player, she miscalculated why once again. Sums it up with a shrug. When Smith doesn't back you, you don't win. End of story. Often. Parade of replacements and executives insist there's no bombshell waiting to drop. We're left with the image of Molly Qerim, a woman who once helped carry a network morning show through a decade of on-air shouting, laughably forced apologies and viral drama, walking out of the building alone. Her final chapter cut short. Her last big swing blocked by the very person she spent 10 years introducing every weekday morning. There's no grand farewell, no standing ovation, just a quick corporate cleanup. And a growing sense that behind the gloss of network TV, the power games are nastier and the consequences sharper than any scripted sports debate. And all of it comes back to the question: when the king refuses to share his throne, what happens to the queen?
Jason, I actually watched that whole video clip of Stephen A. Smith. I just thought it was fun. It ain't none of y'all business. It was a contract negotiation. So that was about the money. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks for cluing us. It's always about the money, though. It's like in boxing. Why didn't this fight happen? Easy, there wasn't enough.
Partnership, a mountain of on-air banter, and suddenly he's grieving on the air. But if we hit rewind, there's a single line that's fueled every wild rumor since the details, quite frankly, are none of y'all business. That KG delivery, the practice. Sidestep the familiar waltz of someone who knows exactly what he's withholding has sent social media into absolute overdrive when Smith declares he doesn't know all the details, then immediately claims he knows more than he's willing to share. He Throws gasoline on the fire. Is he protecting Molly or protecting himself? Is he hinting that her exit was something darker? Or is he just playing the role of the noble company man, stoking sympathy on camera